early studio recording sessions. And then I had a problem with my jaw, and I had to have an operation where my jaw was cut and a lot lost, and I couldn't play anymore. In consequence of that, I started writing music. And I knew George from having played on sessions that he directed. And so he was one of the people I asked if I could write any music for him, which eventually I did.
Alors, for me, it's incredible because when you are 14, you're going in the army. What's the choice?
I chose the army because my father was a policeman, but he was also a musician, and he had learnt music in the army in a certain regiment in England called the Royal Artillery, and they had a very, very fine band and a very fine orchestra. So if I wanted to play music, that was my choice. We couldn't afford to go to a conservatoire or anything like that, and the army actually taught me music.
Okay. Alors, you play saxophone. What do you think about? Because I do the report for Miles Davis, is horns music, and what do you think, Miles Davis? Because I do the great report.
Miles Davis was one of my gods, and Miles Davis, Dizzy Gillespie, Charlie Parker, of course, and the other great saxophone players like Lee Konitz, Paul Desmond, Sonny Stitt, all these people caused me to become a jazz musician. When I was in the army, I was trained as a straight musician, a symphonic player, and then I heard all these wonderful players, and I wanted to be a jazz musician. So of course Miles Davis was one of my gods, and thanks to him and Charlie Parker and all the rest of it, I became a jazz musician.
Yeah. Alors, for you, the best memory on stage? It's difficult, the question.
Yes, but I do remember I used to play with a jazz band, or a big band led by Woody Herman. And for me, Woody Herman was an incredible inspiration. Then I realized that the person that leads the band puts his stamp onto the orchestra. Woody Herman's bands always sounded like Woody Herman's bands, whoever played with them. And for me, I was playing the tenor sax then, and if you remember, if you're a saxophone player, the Four Brothers, all these things, Early Autumn, Stan Getz, and so probably if I have to think of a wonderful experience, it was playing on the stage with Woody Herman.
And also the best memory on the recording? That's difficult because long career.
Yeah, well, the things that people will be interested in is when I played the flute with the Beatles, but it's for me that was just one of the day's work at the time. It wasn't as exciting as, shall we say, playing with the Philharmonia or the London Symphony Orchestra, where the adrenaline is going and you're so nervous. The question was the best experience?
The best experience.
But that's still Woody Herman, I think.
Okay. And yesterday was a good surprise in the Jules Verne Festival. Is there the new songs, the new symphonic, the Indians?
Yes.
What do you think about?
The honest truth
because I love the Indian.
Yeah. The honest truth is that we shouldn't have played it, but I wanted to. We shouldn't have played it because there was a strike, Radio France, in Grève, and we could not get all the percussion. We needed 16 tom-toms. We had 6.
Oh,
We needed 16 cymbals. We had 4. We needed 2 big bass drums on each side of the orchestra for the spectacle, and the idea was that the Indian signals going from one community to the other, when it was bad weather they couldn't see smoke, they could hear the drums. And this was an essential part of that symphony. So the next time we do it properly, we'll have all this percussion, and then it will be a symphony for percussion and orchestra. And I think you'll feel more the spirit of the Indians. So it was a difficult experience for me yesterday. Not completely fulfilling, but everybody has said very nice things, so I'm happy.
Yeah, because yesterday in the great symphony orchestra, and I think, what do you think about the French audience? Because there are 3 times you pray to Paris for the
Yes.
Jewison?
Yeah. First of all, I must talk about the orchestra, and the orchestra is as good as anywhere in the world. The orchestra is fantastic. And because the orchestra is fantastic, the audience must respond to that orchestra. And the audience is very appreciative, very responsive, and it makes your job, because it is a job, it makes your job so pleasant and so pleasurable and memorable. I always remember these concerts. We will do 2 concerts in Los Angeles at the end of the year, and they're very important to me. This is with the Hollywood Symphony Orchestra, and I'm wondering if it will be as responsive. It probably will be, but there is something special about the audience in Paris last night and the year before. It's wonderful.
Okay. Alors, the last question. Which are you playing this year? You're playing your projects.
Which are my projects for this year?
Yes, this year.
Well, the big projects are the concerts, because even though it's in September, the time is going to go very, 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 very quickly. And I'm also writing an opera. The opera should have been finished 2 years ago, and I've vowed to myself that it will be finished this year. So those are the very important projects for me at the moment. Yeah, I don't think I'm writing the music for a film, but for me nowadays there's a great difficulty in writing music for films, because I get the impression that people don't want original music anymore. In Hollywood, they put music into the film that they like, and then they call the composer and they say, this is the music we want, listen to it and go and see if you can write it the same. And then they come and listen to what the composer has done on a synthesizer, and they say, no, we don't like it, change it, could it be more like this? So they're composing the music and not the composer.
Okay.
And I cannot work like that. When someone says to me, we want a score like James Horner, I say, why don't you go to James Horner? You know, if you want a score like me, come to me, but I don't wish to write like James Horner, I don't wish to write like John Williams. I feel that I've worked all my life to be myself. So when people want me to be myself, then I write a film.
And me, I love the black music, and I do also in the report to Jimi Hendrix. It's a good surprise of Jimi is be back in England in 1966.
Yes, yes.
There's a surprise for you. Do you see him on stage?
Yes, I did, and I also met him in New York.
New York?
I had a wonderful experience with Jimi Hendrix. There used to be a music store in New York called Sam Goody's.
Oh.
And I went into there one day, and there was Jimi Hendrix trying guitars
Yeah. Oh.
and doing all his usual, with the les autres parleurs. And I spoke with him, and he was such a nice, ordinary person. Yeah. And this God again.
Exactly.
He's a human being.
Yeah, because he's has the Indian blood, he's the black blood, and it's a great experience when I was young, and for me, it's the best guitar player because for the feeling, for the different music, for the blues, for the jazz and the funk. Maybe I waiting the records with Miles Davis, and too late, and I know.
Another nice thing that happened last night was the harmonica man.
Exactly.
And he was so nervous. And I said, there's no need to be nervous, you just play, and you play so nicely. Play as you feel, and it will all be fine.
Ça, c'est a good surprise for me because I love Il était une fois dans l'Ouest for the movies. I love that. And thank you. See you next year. Hein?
J'espère, avec tout mon cœur.
Okay. Oh!
Tout mon cœur.
Tout mon cœur. And John, I'm very happy to see you.
Et je suis très content d'être ici aujourd'hui. Et si j'ai la chance,
see you next time.
Next time, la prochaine fois.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much.